how would you describe the 4D matrix? Right. There's one thing I wanted to talk about that we missed in the podcast is that we talked a lot about putting shields on TV shows and things like that. So you can enjoy them and not get, attachments or implants mainly from them. But we didn't say what shields are because we're so used to using them. So I am really excited for you to channel your Arcturian. So tell everybody about him a little bit. Why would someone from another universe be interested in this universe, galaxy, Earth? Can you explain who is incarnated in a body and who is not? So this is another question someone had. In the 5D, will we be using any kind of calendar, like 13-month calendar or natural cycles? Will we align ourselves? Welcome. This is Rachel Chamness, your host of this channel, Sound Waves Heal. And this video is a spotlight for a master practitioner at Sound Waves Heal, who has completed most or all of my courses and is a master channel. You'll find a new video almost every Saturday of a practitioner or a current student, as it's my mission to empower and uplift my students. Hi everyone, hi 5D Daily. Thanks for watching. I'm here with Gia Trionfo Hooper from Multidimensional Healing. Hi Gia.
Hey everyone. Hi Rachel.
It's so good to have you. Of course, Gia was on my podcast, but we wanted to just keep talking about the 4D matrix and a few other things that maybe didn't make it into the podcast.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's just to get an overview for anyone who didn't listen to the podcast yet. How would you describe the 4D matrix?
So I would describe it as a frequency where a lot of spiritual people or alternative healers can sometimes get stuck that there's some really great things and interesting things in it, but also has some control in it and some fear-based energy in it. The control piece being, almost all of these practices are practices that have been determined by other people who have said, you got to do it like this, or it's not going to work for you. Like you have to go through this other person, the creator of it, or whatever that might be. So that's like taking away from our sovereignty in a way. The good stuff about that is that it's creating a structure for us to learn within as we are exploring modalities and energy work outside of the 3D matrix. But getting stuck in there is like always wanting to look to someone else and give away your power to someone else's authority or someone else's belief system, and not realizing that we can have our connection with spirit directly and have our own sovereignty and discernment within that. And then the other piece of what gets people stuck, I feel, is that there's a lot of manipulation from different kinds of beings or people, etc., that can end up
4D.
in fear. Yeah, in the 4D, in fear. Right. And so that also gets people stuck because fear is very paralyzing frequency.
Yeah. I think about the 4D in general. It's like that is where duality lives. That's where most of us are in love, but we can get stuck in the fear side too. There's the fear side, the 4D, and that's where you find all the negative beings, the fourth dimensional beings there. And then in the 4D love is where we're really flowing with love and wanting to ascend and be in a better space. And I think it's also too exactly what you said, of course, beautifully put, but also like that you can only manifest with the certain, moon phase, or now I can do the thing. It'll say you don't need all that. You don't need those things. You can be sovereign in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw a really cool meme the other day that said something like, if your center of gravity is outside of you, you need to reconsider, you need to reevaluate. And I really like that. We need to be grounded within ourselves and not something else that's out of us. And I think that's super important. I also think that ironically, us labeling the different dimensional frequencies is a very 4D thing to do. Yeah.
But I mean, we use the 4D and we all go through the 4D.
It's all great. I love all the matrices, honestly. I'm a big fan of them all because we all came to operate in all of them and learn from them all. And they're all wonderful teachers and wonderful experiences that we can have on Earth. It's not really in very many planets or frequencies or lifetimes that we get to have the opportunity to be multidimensional in this way.
That's right.
So it's very cool that we have these options. So even if we're speaking about the things that are negative within them, there's also so much to be grateful for, and there's no need to judge any of them.
Okay, I'm so in. Yeah. And we talk about more in this in the podcast. So if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. But let's talk about a few things that we maybe didn't get to, like the 4D inverse matrix, which we pretty much coined, and I love it.
I don't know if I coined it. I think I got it from Darius, but I get more hits about it. One of the more recent things that Spirit's having me do in sessions is supporting people and releasing their attachments to false matrices. So that includes the 3D matrix, the 3D moon matrix, the 4D matrix, the inverse matrix. And those are all ones that have kind of like popped up as I've been working, and then connecting only to those higher dimensional frequencies that can bring us into that sovereign space and bring us into that space that's fully love and oneness. So the inverse matrix, to me, if we were to take a Venn diagram, maybe, where, like you have the circles and then like there's the things that overlap and the things in the center.
Like
some of these things, like if we took a list of things, you could say like this belongs in more than one of these categories. It's really not this linear. None of this is as linear, including chakras, including like everything we talk about is not as linear as we make it out to be, but we're humans and we like linear stuff.
Right. We like guidelines.
Helps us understand stuff.
To understand things, and we work on that. And then from there, learning. You can really expand into
right. I always say like learn all the structure, learn all the rules so that you can break them with intention. Yeah. And I think that's, important. What I would say about this one is anything that's like an inversion of like our organic perfect selves and world and planet. So things, and this is going to probably trigger people, but I would say something like fake meat would be like inverse matrix stuff. Like something where like, have you seen these news articles go around that say that like if you grow your own vegetables in your backyard, that you're creating a more harmful like footprint, green, whatever it's called, like in the environment than like a processed food farm? It's the inverse of truth. It's the inverse of like what would lead to the fifth dimensional stuff if we were all on our own little farms, on our own little homesteads. And there's a lot of research and there's a lot of information out there about how that is actually could become a very sustainable form of living in
a 4D love space I would think, for sure.
There's a 5D space even too.
That's going to be one of our questions today.
Yeah. So like that, for example, that instead of that, we're going to like take acres and acres of land and we're going to do all this and we're going to put a bunch of seed oils and we're going to put a bunch of like processed styrofoam and like put that into food and like market it as health food. Like that to me that feels like an inverse of like the organic, natural earth and truth, a way of living in partnership with the earth. Like that's an example I can think of. So anything where you're like not honoring and recognizing the like perfection that we are born into in our bodies and in this earth, I feel like is inverse. And anything that just feels like, are we living in opposite day, Groundhog Day, every day of our lives? Like that's kind of inverse.
Dead-eyed suburbanites is my favorite phrase from The Simpsons.
Yeah, right. And like also things like, there's so many of these fake, like, or they're not fake apparently, but these articles coming out about like, if you're out in the sun for one day, it's going to give you a heart attack. Like these like ridiculous statements.
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of crazy articles lately that I was like, really?
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. It's like a lot of the stuff that's going on in the inverse matrix is cloaked under virtue. There's a lot of virtue signaling and I'm going to show everyone what a good person I am by doing these, like checking these boxes, and that's going to give me salvation of some kind.
Yeah, or self-worth of some kind.
So it's a lot of giving away of your, it's like believing things that don't feel or aren't intrinsically, organically true within you.
Oh, I love that. Okay, well, I want to have you channel, so I want to make sure we get to that. But I love that. That was really great. There's one thing I wanted to talk about that we missed in the podcast is that we talked a lot about putting shields on TV shows and things like that, so you can enjoy them and not get, attachments or implants mainly from them. But we didn't say what shields are because we're so used to using them. So one thing we were talking about is what I call angel fire, which is like layers of colored light, which you've probably heard before. And you can like each color can mean something. I have an $11 class of it on my website if you want. But it's just like each color means something and they're kind of related to chakras. And the purple or violet's like an all catch color. So you could just put layers of violet or different colored shields between you and the TV or you and your phone, or where other places do you put them?
All screens, and then just, things like clearing stations, like at entrances and exits and things like that. But here's something that I want to add to that, and I don't want to be like confusing, but I feel like there's this sort of balance between like using that kind of stuff, but also what I started saying to my kids instead of shielding up lately is shine your light, like blast your light. So bringing your light as high, bringing your frequency up as high as possible and blasting it out. I think when you're just getting started in in this spiritual work and you're just learning about lifting your frequency and you're just learning about these shifts, then it's really important to understand these kinds of like angel fire type of things that are, of course, partnered with frequency, partnered with intention. But as you continue to grow and do this work, as you continue to remove, whether it's emotions, as you do more and more shadow work, as you just move along in your path, then it can be more of a like, I'm shining my light so bright that everything's kind of burning up in the field,
Great. Yeah.
Like after that, what was that I was doing? I did an event where I was reading like hundreds of people over a couple of hours, and people were drinking, and it was like people who weren't spiritual people. And I had set it up so that afterwards you would clear me just because, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you messaged me and you were like, I've checked in on you 3 times, but you are shining your light so bright that I think you're okay. And I feel like I was, but this is what, 8 years in now. It's not like I didn't use shields, and I shielded up before and so forth, but like, there's definitely like a
there's a
balance
whole
there.
thing there. I mean, that's like 10 podcasts of like,
like
you
that's
use
what it
shields
is.
and Reiki and things, just exactly what we're talking about, 4D matrix. And then you learn how to
not
go
need them
or not need them because you've cleared the emotions from your field. Like,
yeah.
It's
like
you need protection until you don't.
Exactly.
Right. And it's a whole long process.
I thought I'd give a little intro of that.
Yeah. And I mean, Gia and I have been doing this stuff for like all the time. Like basically all the time. Yeah. So that's how we got really good at it. And you can get really good at it too. So I am really excited for you to channel your Arcturian. So tell everybody about him a little bit before we start.
Okay. So I have a Arcturian guide, Marcus Aurelius, who many of you probably know from, he was like a Roman emperor, I believe,
or senator, maybe.
I don't know what the proper word is. And then also philosopher, and he's pretty famous. I didn't really know that much about him, but he just kind of popped into my field in meditations for like a week, like a very, very long time ago when I first started connecting with guides and things like that. And I learned, in your channeling class, he's my doctor teacher, and we kind of just held that connection from there. And I bought his essays, but I haven't read them. Sorry, Marcus. But he's cool. I see quotes around him on the internet all the time, and I'm like, yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, we have some great questions that I took from this group from 5D Daily, and also that we have just been keeping a tally of. So if you bring them in, I'll ask them some interesting questions.
Okay.
It's so good to see you again. Thank you for coming and answering our questions. So are there some extraterrestrials in a pod on a ship right now outside of our field, like using their body remotely in some way? This is like Avatar or something. Is this accurate and true?
There are always galactic beings on ships protecting the Earth in different ways, in ways that they are able to help that matches with their own frequency. Different beings from different places have different techniques or abilities or technology that they can use to support. So they are always around. There are more now than before as things are in a state of quickening.
I just got a vision of that. This might be about them astral traveling here and speaking like you are right now. Could that be a way that this might be accurate?
Many of them can do that. Arcturians do that. Palladians do that.
Yeah.
Several others do that. It's not the only way, but it is a common way. And there are also other beings that will speak through people that are not as positive.
Right. Okay. Well, can you explain like who is incarnated in a body and who is not? Like angels, star beings, higher dimensional beings, like where's the line between they have an incarnation body and they are spirit? Like what's the line of that?
Well, first, it depends on the dimensional frequency that they are operating within. So, on different spaces, different planets, different frequencies, you can hold a body, and on others, you cannot. Most of them cannot hold a body. Earth is one of the few places that you can inhabit a full, heavy, dense form. And that's why so many want to come here. There are some other planets where you can hold some form for shorter periods of time, and many of them, though, are not in bodies. So, really, all of it is just different frequencies. All of these beings are just, it's less tangible than we like to think of it, but it really helps people to have those tangible images. So, for example, many people may see Archangel Michael as an attractive human. This is a very common way that he shows himself, but really it's a non-human, non-gendered, non-formed frequency.
So this is another question someone had. In the 5D, will we be using any kind of calendar, like 13-month calendar and natural cycles? Will we align ourselves with the natural rhythms of the native people and ancient cultures? Or are we completely outside of time in the 5D? Or is there a mixture?
Once we get to that space, there will be at first a mixture. Things will always look to structure if they are dense in form. So if there is inhabitants on Earth, eventually there will be structure taken. And this structure will be more like the native beings here at the very beginnings, but will not be the same. It will be its own rhythm and structure.
Oh, that's nice. So Zabayo showed me something that was like where we go to fifth dimension, but then we have a sort of period where we acclimate in that space. Is that something you
Yes,
can say?
that's what I'm referencing.
That's
At
what I thought.
first, there will be a mixture. And really, all of that has already happened or happening. Many of the beings have chosen their direction and which matrices they would like to inhabit. And while these are not completely formalized, they are still open for movement from one to another, but some of them have already been chosen. And so as this all sorts itself out, I mean, there is already a period of adjustment happening. It's just going to become less and less dense as the time here goes on.
Okay. Can we expect physical ailments and illness to decrease or even disappear as we move into the 5D? And are the majority of these symptoms or sicknesses right now actually attachments or other spiritual attacks?
We can expect there to be a shift in the way our bodies operate and the way we are healed.
So,
And now, so much of what is happening is release of things that our bodies do not want to hold, do not want to be in frequency with. And you may notice that spiritual people are having different kinds of ailments arise. And it is actually a good thing. It is the removal of things from their organs and their fields that were stuck in the lower frequencies. And as the light becomes brighter, they are being purged by the bodies. And so, as they say, sometimes the symptom is actually the cure.
perfect. That was kind of my next question. If we come into a higher dimensional light frequency, then we should be able to release physical ailments, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we are doing that now. And this channel always loves to say we are the highest frequency, we are the highest technology. And that is true. There is not a higher technology than the human form and its capabilities and abilities. We are just not awakened to all of the possibilities that we hold within ourselves quite yet.
That's great. Are blueprint contracts in which karma is still being played out still in effect, or have all the debts and contracts been canceled?
They have not all been canceled. That is an individual choice.
What about karma in itself? Are we off the karmic wheel? Are we stepping off of it? Or
Do you want to be off the karmic wheel?
yes.
Then yes.
Well.
If you do not, then no.
That's a very good point. Okay. How are humans viewed from the ET's perspective? What would they like to see us overcome and achieve?
We do have compassion for those who are having harder times remembering. Many and most of us have been on Earth and had no memories and had that experience. And so we would like to see the remembrance so that everyone can have better experiences that are more resonant with their true desires and intentions when they wanted to come.
I have a question about celestial beings. Is it true that they're now allowed to intervene more than they were before? There's some rumor about the universal laws that have been broken.
Many of these things are created by men, people who have been trying to make sense of things. Really, there's no rule of any of this. Any rules are man-made constructs like time.
Okay.
So did the Celestials ever have a rule? Not
Did-
really.
Did we
But
have to ask for them to help us? That's the rule we've always been told.
in the sense that we have to always choose our healing. And if we don't choose our healing, then we choose not to be. So choosing our healing is asking.
That's awesome. I'd like to know how common it is for people to be sent here from outside this universe. Why would someone from another universe be interested in this universe, galaxy, Earth?
Because Earth has all of the different densities, and there's so much that you can experience and learn here.
Is it that
unique.
unusual?
It is unusual. There are other places like Earth, and people like to go to those places too. In this universe, Earth is the big one, and then in other universes, Earth is a different kind of Earth, is the big one. It's kind of like saying, I want to go to the beach on vacation. I'm going to choose Ibiza this time, and next time I'm going to choose the Cayman Islands. It's just going to a different place that has similar properties.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us that would help us at this time?
It doesn't have to be so complicated. There's not a lot of special tricks and bells and whistles that are needed to ascend. So much of it comes back to being honest with yourself and also loving yourself unconditionally and also connecting with spirit. The rest will be given to you on your path. So long as you are in alignment, there will be someone who comes to show you, or a way that spirit keeps you on track if your intention is pure and you live from your heart. And even if you are stuck in one matrix or another, you always have the choice. There's nothing that you've done that can't be undone. There's infinite possibilities here. And I feel like, back to your other question, we just want you all to be free and know how powerful you are and how beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, Marcus. We really appreciate you.
You got it.
Thank you, Gia. That was great. Those are a lot of questions from
rapid fire, man.
I was afraid you had to go.
Yeah.
So
I have no idea how much time has passed. Sure.
This has been a little longer than normal, but it was definitely worth it. So
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Well, everybody, you can find Gia Trionfo Hooper at Multidimensional Healing. Her website is giamary.com, and she's amazing. And you can also find her group, Multidimensional Living. Yeah.
On Facebook.
Yes, I'm there too. I love that group. Great group, Gia.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching. I'm Rachel Chamness at soundwavesheal.com. I love to help lightworkers trans-channel messages, light, and healing in higher dimensions. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and follow on social media. And consider checking out my Tag Lightworkers monthly mentorship program.